This TV and this thing. Oh, come on. Don't. No, you don't.
Hi, this is Scott Firestone.
I'm Jeremiah. Welcome once again to Theology of Games.
Today we're bringing you another visual review, a game called King's Forge by Clever Mojo Games.
By Nick Sibaikai.
Sibiki?
Sibiki.
Or Sibiki?
Sibiki.
One of those two, or perhaps more options.
It's a dice roller game.
For 2 to 4 players, it takes 45 minutes to an hour to play.
And has this cool guy with a hammer on the front.
And here's the review. Okay, let's talk about the components that come with King's Forge. Again, this is a prototype copy, and so these components are not going to be the quality that you're going to see in the final game.
First of all, the game comes with a ton of dice. You'll notice there are many different colors, and we'll talk about those real quickly here. You have black. Everybody starts with 5 black, which are metal dice.
Green ones that represent wood.
Red, which are jewels.
And you have blue ones that represent magic. And then there's a purple one here for one of the cards that's in the game.
2 white library die.
Then we've got some tokens here. These yellow ones are tokens that you can buy that will give you an automatic 6 on one of the die.
And there are Soylent Green wafers. Soylent Green is people! They're feeding us people. If you have a green token, these are +1/+1 tokens. So with this token, you can add 1 to 2 different die in your roll.
Then we have storage cards. Each player is going to get one of these, and this is where you keep your dice on each turn.
When you gain dice in the gather stage, they go here first, unless you're allowed to put them somewhere else, which is very cool.
There are black market cards. These are cards that, as the game progresses, you'll be buying dice from various cards. But it could be that you really need something to come out, and so you'll be using these black market cards, kind of a last resort.
The trouble is all of these things have red X's. So whatever dice you spend to gain whatever is there is going away. You're going to lose it.
You really need that green die. You can put something there, but know that it will be gone forever.
So just be aware of that. These are kind of a last resort sort of thing. Also, if you choose a black market action, you will get to discard from the gather cards that are in play. Let's talk about gather cards.
Gather cards. These are cards that are going to be laid out on every turn, and there are quite a few that come with the game, and you'll only use about half of them in each game.
There are 4 gather cards that will be in every game. There are 2 forests, east and west, and there are 2 mines, south and north.
They have these squares where you'll put dice. If it's just white behind it, it means you can put any color dice there. So if you put 2 here, you'll get a green die.
You'll notice on these gather cards too, there's a top option and a bottom option. If you use the top option, you gain that, and that's out of the game for that turn.
Generally, this is going to be better for you at the beginning of the game, and these will generally be better for you toward the late game.
Let's take a look at a few more cards. There's the Bazaar. This is pretty straightforward. If you use the top one, you can put 2 green die. You'll see now there's colors on some of these. That specifically has to be a green die. Anything that's white can be any color. You got to put 2 green, and then you get a jewel.
So here's a tavern. Put 3 down, and then you roll a die, and if you roll a 3 or higher, then you get a red one.
This one, you can turn any 2 die into 2 green.
Caravan, only a green one. This has a green background, so that means you have to spend a green one there, and you're going to lose it, but you'll get 4 black dice.
There is the Astrologer. You can either just gain a black die, or you can put a die there, and you may roll dice in your storage during your crafting phase.
Dragon Lair, if you choose the top, you just get a black die. Or you can put 7 down, lose them forever, but you'll get a red and a blue.
And here's the library. This is the white die that I showed you earlier. If you use the bottom function of this, you can roll the white die and use it as any type of die during your next crafting. So you can roll that, and whatever it comes up as, you can change that type to suit your needs. So it becomes kind of a wild die. And so there's a whole bunch of those. You actually never use all of the gathering cards in a game.
And it really does feel, every game really does feel different because of the different gather cards that are in the game. And then finally, the last thing are the craft cards. These are what you are trying to craft for the king. The point of the game is to be the first one to craft 4 of these.
So what will happen is you will select a scalable number. The number of these will change depending on the number of players in the game. You'll put them in order. They all have sort of a point value. It's kind of an order of difficulty.
It starts at 1 here with the anvil, which is the easiest one to build because it takes 3 black dice, and they have to be at least 2. And there are shields and horseshoes and
the holy hand grenade. And if you get that reference,
all the way up to the most expensive one, the Sword of Destiny. That takes those 4 colored dice, and each of them has to be a 6. Now, there are going to be ways for you to manipulate the dice and things like that, so it's not just, boy, I sure hope I roll 6s on here. So those are the components, and now we're going to talk about how you actually play it. Okay, let's talk about how a turn in King's Forge works. Each turn is divided into 2 sections. First is the gathering phase, where you're going to be spending dice in order to get more dice for the future turns to be able to do more stuff.
you'll take from your general supply, which you start with 5 black dice, and you will go and you will gather cards. So the first player can go, oh, I need some wood because there's wood cards coming up, and they'll take that and they'll gain that 1 wood die and put it on their storage card. Then you refill that spot. The next player goes.
And you keep going like that, back and forth. People are buying things and from the black market, from the regular market. And then eventually someone will pass. When you pass, you get one of 2 options if you're the first one to pass. You can take this +1/+1 token, and that means that during the crafting phase, you'll get to add 1 to 2 different dice. Or you can alternately just take a black die and put it on your storage for the next turn. So once all of these regular gather cards are gone, either they've been discarded or they've been used by people, and as long as somebody has passed, then the gather phase is over and you move on to the crafting phase. You're using the same pool of dice for both phases. So you kind of have to decide, how much do I want to spend during crafting and how much do I want to spend during gathering?
Any dice that you have that haven't been placed on your storage card or on gather cards, you roll.
And it's a 1, it's a 2, and a 5. That is not enough to get even the anvil because you have to have at least 2s on all of these. But maybe earlier, when you took this, you did this bottom thing where it says add 1 to 3 different dice. So you could now bump that to a 2, and bump that to a 3, and bump that to a 6, which is now enough to get the anvil.
And then I would gain that card. But I haven't solidified that yet because the next player can then roll their die. Say they roll a 6, a 4, and a 6. They've made a better anvil than I have, and they can take that anvil from me, voiding my turn and gaining that for themselves. Then alternately, if the next person rolls a 6, 6, and a 5, that can be again then stolen. You only get a chance to create or steal 1 card per crafting phase.
And it's something that's been forgotten in a few of our games where somebody will be building up this huge pool of dice and they haven't crafted anything, and somebody will finally say, you can only craft 1 thing per turn. Oh, I forgot that. And there's no recourse. The person who's stolen from doesn't get anything extra. They lose out, and the other person gains on them. It's a very powerful part of the game. Everybody rolls their dice at the same time during the crafting phase. So you can look around and determine, oh, so-and-so could probably steal the anvil if I go for that, but they couldn't steal the horseshoes from me, so I'm going to manipulate my dice in such a way that I can get the horseshoes, because that can't really be stolen from me. There are lots of decisions to be made when it comes to that, because people will steal from you, and it really stinks to be stolen from.
That's the game. That's how it works. Once somebody has 4 crafting cards, everybody else gets to finish the crafting phase of that turn. And if anybody's tied,
then you go based on whoever has the most valuable piece. So the Sword of Destiny is the biggest one in the game. And that's pretty much it. Back and forth, craft 4, 1 person wins, everyone else cries.
And we're going to tell you our final thoughts right now.
I like it a lot. I'm not a big fan of dice rolling games, but this is one that is very interesting and allows you to do interesting things with the dice.
I just like it. It's a great game, lots of fun, really super fast learning curve. So maybe if you are playing with a gamer that's not very experienced and wanting to get into something a little more than just Settlers of Catan, this would be a great route to go. It's another step down the dork path.
You're not just rolling and hoping you roll well. You have ways to manipulate the dice and change them and make decisions.
I really liked the gathering, almost a resource management mechanism there with trying to figure out if you're going to spend your dice that turn or save them to roll and craft that turn.
The other night at my game group, we played it 2 times in a row, and that almost never happens with any game, let alone a prototype. So my game group really likes it too. It's a fun game. It's really well done. The artwork that they are planning for the Kickstarter is really cool. You should go check out the Kickstarter page for sure when you pre-order it, because it's a great game. There are a few things I don't like about the game. None of them are deal breakers for me, but they're just kind of things that upset me. There are 2 cards in the game, and the gather cards, that I would say are kind of attack cards, and I just don't like them very much. They kind of bother me. One is the peddler. You give any 4 of your unused dice to a player, and then you take one of their unused dice for you. It's a way that you could give somebody 4 black dice and steal their blue die, and it's really frustrating. The other one is the cemetery card, and what you do with this is there's a purple die, and you roll the purple die, and whatever number is on there, anytime that's rolled in the rest of that turn, then that die immediately just goes to their stores. They can't use it. What usually happens is somebody takes their entire turn gathering things, and they know they're not going to craft, so they'll just take this kind of in a spiteful way and say, okay, I'm going to mess with everybody, and sorry guys, if you roll a 2, it doesn't count for you, ha ha ha.
I didn't have a problem with the peddler card or the cemetery card. To a degree, you have to have things like that within the game that kind of spur on that interaction. Otherwise, the only thing you're hoping for is that you can get that gather card that's on the table. And if it's gone, then okay, you just get the next one. Other than that, you're just gathering dice, rolling them, doing your thing, and that's that.
The other thing I don't like is the stealing mechanism. It is very, very harsh. The person who is stolen from has no recourse, and the person that is stealing has now gained quite a bit on them because the person lost some and they gained some. So it seems to me that an easy fix for this would be to give the person stolen from their choice of any 1 die. Blue, red, green, black, whatever they want. And the reason I think that makes it interesting is because if I'm going to steal from someone, I now have to think, well, am I willing to steal that anvil from them and let them get a blue die for it? It just seems like an easy fix. I'm going to recommend it to the designer. Who knows if anything will be done.
If you read the instructions, the idea behind the stealing mechanism, not that Scott didn't read the instructions, I'm sure he did. You did, right? But the stealing mechanism, the idea behind that, and the reason I'm completely fine with that, is because if you are a blacksmith, you have 1 shot to make your anvil or your sword of destiny, holy hand grenade, or whatever it is. You have 1 shot to do it, and if somebody comes along and makes a better one, the king's not going to take your crappy one, he's going to take the better one. So don't make a crappy anvil. I don't know why the king wants an anvil in the first place, but don't make a bad one and the king will accept it. So to me, the stealing mechanism, I was completely fine with, and I thought thematically it tied in perfectly with the gameplay in the setting that you're in. Also, I noticed I played a 2-player game, and you have to have the stealing mechanism because otherwise somebody can really kind of get a lead and just ride it out. So you have to have that stealing mechanism to make it possible for somebody to catch up and overtake the other player.
You should back this game. It's really fun.
Check out the artwork over there because all the cards look really super sweet. What we saw in the prototype is nothing compared to what the game will actually look like. It looks fantastic.
My game group likes it. I can see myself playing with this with my family. I'm not sure if I would play it with non-gamers. There's still quite a bit of things going on with it. And, a group or a youth group or something like that. Maybe, I don't know. Certainly family and definitely my gamer group really likes this game.
Listen, guys, just put this game on your table. Go get it. You heard it here. Do it.
I give it a big thumbs up. It is a good game. We really liked it, and it's money well spent.
Hey, I'm Jeremiah with Theology of Games. I want to thank you so much for watching. This has been our review of King's Forge, a great game. If you like what you're seeing here, please, please, please give us a thumbs up on YouTube, like our stuff, find us all over the internet, on all those places, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, comment on our videos and on our blog. We love to hear what you have to say about the games that we play. I'm Jeremiah, that's Scott.
Thanks for joining us on Theology of Games, and have a great day. Bye. Where's the mine? Where's the mine? Where's the mine? There is the mine.